got fast cars from the back, championship contenders in the middle, Penske's up front. Here we go! Green from Gateway, and Scott McLaughlin in the red and white car has the early jump.
McLaughlin looking great up front, and it's Newgarden and Will Power teammates side by side as Power goes to the high side.
All clean through 1 and 2 as they funnel down the back straight. Easy for McLaughlin in, but side by side further back, that's the pink, white, and black machine of Kyle Kirkwood on the bottom. Paddle Ward riding up top in the black and orange McLaren.
McLaughlin leads the first lap. Challenge right now for seconds, and Will Power has moved up to second. Colton Herta, by the way, has already picked up 6 spots on 1 lap.
Let's take a look at how Colton Herta handles the start from the back. Just listen. Oh, that was so close, 4 wide, but he still wants more.
Side by side, Kirkwood, and they almost touched.
They did touch. I saw a puff of smoke there. Meanwhile, Joseph Newgarden was making a move on Malukas, trying to make it a Penske 1-2-3, but here comes Malukas back.
Back to second around Will Power, splitting up the Penskes.
And that's Ericsson around the outside of Newgarden, side by side. Absolutely nothing between them. Great move from Ericsson. Newgarden kind of balked on the inside there on that low lane, and the caution is out.
Catherine Legg and Ed Carpenter.
Here's what happened.
Not sure what led up to this, James, but it looked like Ed thought he was clear of Catherine, maybe making a pass to the outside, I'm not sure, but somehow the 51 and the 20 get together.
And David Malukas is in front.
Power and Malukas pull away, and here comes Newgarden. Oh! Is that Daly or is that Grosjean?
It's Connor Daly. Making his debut with Hugo's Hollinger Racing, his 11th IndyCar team, announced this week. Here is how David Malukas got the lead from Scott McLaughlin.
McLaughlin looks like he was saving fuel, guys.
I was going to say, if they just decided that, okay, we know what kind of fuel burn we have to try to make this on 4 stops. Meanwhile, further back, I think this is what led to the issue. Rinus VeeKay getting crossed up, and then Grosjean gets into the back of Connor Daly.
Kirkwood gets in the back of Kirkwood, who gets into the back of Connor Daly. That second lane is definitely opening up as we see Will Power now wanting to challenge Malukas for the lead down into turn 3. He's going to get it easily. Newgarden, fresh rubber, back on track. That's around David Malukas.
Malukas only pitted a lap or 2 earlier, so he has just a lap or 2 older Firestones, and that's why he's fighting Newgarden so hard.
Battle for position, and Newgarden wins this fight. Can he use the traffic to his advantage? McLaughlin clears, he's wiggling. Newgarden's coming through. Can he hang on?
No!
Newgarden going around.
That's what I was talking about. That light gray is so dangerous up high.
All clear behind, all clear behind.
What a save.
He only lost 2 positions, guys.
David Malukas in 5th is on the same fuel strategy as Will Power. Big run off of turn 4.
He'll look to the inside on Will Power. This could be effectively for the win. Side by side with traffic. They touch, and he goes around. Heavy damage for David Malukas.
So Kirkwood comes down, takes a little bit of air away. That was tight.
I think Will Power really pinched David Malukas to the high side.
It's now a race on pit lane between these 2 crews, and it'll be a shootout.
Newgarden takes tires.
Oh, here's why you do it, because you're only racing each other, and now you've got the new tire advantage over the cars behind. Herta, Power, Lundqvist.
Look at Newgarden, did 5.1. How can the 3 team respond?
They can't. They can't.
How do you do a 5.1 second pit stop?
Because you would need almost no fuel. They put in just enough.
Newgarden really slow to bring him to speed. This is a crash with Rossi and Power.
In the back, you see Jack Harvey as well. Connor Daly gets some debris. This might cause a red flag, guys.
McLaughlin was right on his gearbox.
So, yeah, I mean, did Rossi just miss time?
I don't know that Newgarden did anything wrong. It looked consistent speed-wise. It was slow, but it was consistent, and the green light came on.
Going late. Go
no,
away.
there was a speed adjustment there from Power, so you can't really put that all on Rossi either. We have to watch this a couple times from both cars.
Sounded like Power jumped and then had to get off it.
You just try to roll green, green, green.
And here we go again. Is this the final restart? And it's a great jump for Newgarden. The battle is going to be back there for third. Championship leader Palou under attack from his teammate Linus Lundqvist going around the outside.
The rookie looking racy. Lundqvist to the high side. Boy, Newgarden played that one completely different this time.
Linus Lundqvist, he wants that podium. He had one earlier this year at Barber Motorsports Park. He is all over the 26 of Colin Herta.
There now. He's there.
Side by side, Lundqvist, the rookie, on Herta, and he's got him up to third. For Joseph Newgarden, this is going to be win number 31 into the top 10 all time. He's the king of corn country. Is he now the master on the mighty Mississippi? Fifth time for a win at World Wide Technology Raceway. Joseph Newgarden has won in St. Louis.
Oh my gosh, that's your guys' win right there. Thank you. Great job. We win that race with you. We needed that one. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We deserved that one.
Up next, it's the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland, Sunday, August 25th. Watch it at 3 p.m. on USA Network.
Welcome back to another episode of the Push to Pass podcast. I am Michael Monroe, and next to me is Josh Roberts. We are here tonight to discuss the upcoming race at World Wide Technology Raceway. I always want to call it Gateway, but yeah, it's going to be a great show tonight. Derik is on assignment. He's got some prior obligations that he is attending to. He may join us, he may not. Just depends on how that scheduling conflict shapes up. But Josh, how's your week been?
So far, so good. I apologize about missing last week being on assignment. Had something else that came up that I wasn't able to be on, and I do thank you and Derik for holding down the fort. Can't wait. We get another race. We got spoiled for a little bit where we had the whole month of May, and then we had with that 500 that was fantastic, and then a race in Detroit, and we like I said, we had a break for about a week, but now we're going back. We're going to start hitting these races hot and heavy as we come to the end. I mean, it's hard to believe that August, end of August, the last weekend of August is going to be the final finale in Nashville. But this week we're talking about Gateway. That's we're Worldwide Technology track. It'll be known as Gateway to some people. Worldwide Technology track. I can't wait, and it's going to be a great show. Talk about the Bommarito Automotive Group race. So let's get into it.
Yeah, you talk about, what do we call it? Worldwide Technology. Is it Gateway? Is it St. Louis? What do we call it? So it is Worldwide Technology Raceway. Worldwide Technology has bought the naming rights for the racetrack for I don't know how many years. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting race, that's for sure. Let's go ahead, and as our Derik is lovely enough, he was able to put tonight's show together for us. So we're going to look at the track map here of the racetrack. There we go. Can we make that any bigger? Let's see. Not really. So this is an oval. We're back to another oval. And I know, Josh, we talked a little bit about it last week as well. Just briefly touched on it, but what's your thoughts? And I know you've touched on this as well. What's your thoughts on maybe running an oval before and then maybe right after the Indy 500 before going to another road or street course? Is that something you feel that IndyCar should look at.
Definitely. IndyCar. I mean, I know that they want to get all those tracks in there, but I feel like they may lose some momentum. Right off of Indy by going to a street or road course as they do in Detroit. I talked to a couple guys this past weekend at a golf outing that me and Derik were at, and they talked. They're avid NASCAR fans, and I asked them point blank. I said, why do you only watch the Indy 500? And they said because it's an oval. They said they're not big street course or road course guys, and so I think adding another oval would help immensely for IndyCar, whether it be going to, they could stick with Michigan and go up to Brooklyn and maybe come back to Detroit later on in the year somewhere, or they could find somewhere else. But I do like the idea of putting another oval right after the 500.
Yeah, and this would be a great one. Just a little bit over a mile. It's 1.25 miles. It does host several races. It does host the IndyCar Series, obviously, and it hosts the NASCAR Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. This is definitely an interesting track, as you can see, kind of from the map. If we could zoom in a little bit, you can see it's kind of a weird oval where turns 1 and 2 are the bigger end. So that would be on the left-hand side of your computer screen. Those turns are a little wider, and then it kind of narrows down into 3 and 4. Very unique. Or did I get that backwards? I may have that backwards. I can't tell with this map. It's so small. Maybe 1 and 2 on the right. Is 1 and 2 on the right hand, Josh? It's been a while since I've been to Gateway.
You know what? It's not showing up on my end, but as I look at a map that I've pulled up, what were you were asking?
1 and 2, they're the skinnier or the wider?
I believe they're the skinnier. They're the skinnier ones.
So turns 1 and 2 are skinnier. So
Yeah.
they don't have as much room where it opens up in 3 and 4. Thanks for kind of clarifying that. So like we said, it's kind of an interesting racetrack. I believe, if I remember correctly, NASCAR sprays a little bit of that traction control in that second lane. So as we know from the past running at Texas, it is a little interesting with the Firestone tires when you get up in that, whether the tires are going to stick or whether they're going to get a little slick. So that'll definitely be another thing to look at when we get to the race or even qualifying this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. If you only have one line that's gonna stick, your race is gonna maybe end up being not so great, or you're gonna have someone that's gonna take chances and quite possibly cause a huge wreck. These cars are very temperamental, and if they don't have grip, then it may turn into a follow the leader. I hope it doesn't. So maybe IndyCar will take a page from NASCAR and spray some of that grip up there somewhere in that second lane, so that we can have possibly 2, maybe even 3 wide racing going down the backstretch or going into turn 3.
Well, I think actually we don't want any more of the sticky stuff, because that's what affects the Firestone tires. What we want is NASCAR to stop spraying that on racetracks. That would be great, because they ruined Texas for us for several years. And just quit spraying it. Fix your car or fix your tires. One of the two to make your racing better. I don't know why we have to keep spraying stuff on racetracks to hinder other series from being able to be competitive there. But yes, Gateway, another kind of smaller oval. It's going to be interesting to see what we get out of it. As you've seen in the video to start the episode, a lot of contact. We've seen, David Malukas have issues. We've seen, cars ramping each other. willpower, and that's where I remember last year you and I got very heated on that episode because that race was later in the year and I had actually come on with you guys full time. That's where the whole we need a line on the racetrack to tell the drivers when to go, because that's where the whole stack up happened, where Joseph kind of stacked up the field, and that's what caused that crash. So I remember that episode very well. And it is something that absolutely should be looked at. So yeah, I'm not sure, if that's something IndyCar has looked at. Restarts have been pretty good this year. We haven't had any big major crashes, but this is the first tight oval we'll be going to, this weekend.
Definitely. And something else that's gonna play havoc maybe a little bit on the drivers is this race is starting at 8:00 on Sunday on Fox, and as we know in the summer, and at about 8:00. I mean, right now outside, I can look outside; it's still daylight. But here in about an hour or so, we're gonna be under dark. We're gonna be under dark, and that temperature on that track may drop a little bit. So and the colder air helps I believe. I mean, I'm not technical, but I've heard that helps these cars, their engines do better. But is that going to lose the track going down, temperature going down? Is that going to affect the tires? We're so focused on tires. I mean, that's the big thing. How are these tires going to hold up?
Yeah, you do make a good point there with the schedule, and we can pop that up here on the screen right now for this weekend. Nope, that's the track map. We don't want the track map anymore. We want this. There we go. The schedule for this weekend. Let's see what we can do here. Schedule. So yeah, it's a two-day event. So Saturday you'll have practice at 11:30. These are Eastern time. Cool. 11:30 Eastern, Fox Sports 1, you'll have first practice. Qualifying is at 3:00 on FS1 as well. Then you have the high line and final practice. So that's really helping put in some tire wear and tire rubber onto the racetrack to kind of help get that groove, moved up a little bit, which really helps, the racing on Sunday. Now, when we look at Sunday, the only on-track event for the NTT IndyCar Series is the race at 8:00. And as you mentioned, yes, the sun is still out here, but it will get, as you watched in the video to start the episode, you did see that by the end of the race, it was dark. So you are going to have some tire wear that's not going to be there. You're going to have cars that, have some oversteer, understeer issues as you're going to be able to work through the night. Your teams are definitely going to have to work on adjustments, keeping that car underneath you. Even if the car's great, all of a sudden your car might not be great anymore because you lose that grip, or you have oversteer when you did have understeer, or understeer when you had oversteer, just how the transition to the track. More tire rubber goes in. I know we'll talk later with the weatherman about this week's upcoming weather pattern, because that could play a big factor in this weekend as well.
Most definitely, because I mean, as you saw, we had some wrecks last year. We had some cars driving up on top of cars. I mean, that's a scary thing, with those tires being out there and driving up on top of someone. Just happened to hit one of those helmets, and it could cause some damage. Another thing I want to talk about, and this has nothing. It has to do with the timing of the scheduling of the race. This is it's a Father's Day weekend race. This is it's an 8:00 on a Sunday. It may help viewership. It's a possibility, but what are your thoughts on having an 8:00 race, an 8 p.m. race on a Sunday, on a holiday Sunday, We don't us fathers don't get as much pub as Mother's Day do, but having it on a weekend, and the viewership may not be affected. It may get some more, but the live gate, I mean, there's not a holiday on Monday to where people can fly back or drive back to their house on Monday. They either have to take a day off work and go home on Monday, or just not go to the race. How do you think that's going to affect the live attendance?
I honestly think it'll affect both. Just for the simple fact that you have, a Sunday night, you mentioned it, late. And also, you're right, Monday is not a holiday. So there's no day off. If you have Memorial Day, you run late, Sunday, all the post-race activities and things like that. Monday, yeah, it's a day off for most people. You sleep in, you're fine. But Father's Day, there's no day off the next day. So you're right. That is an issue. Will that hurt attendance at the track? Probably. I would say so. Just for the simple fact that, you're right. You don't have that Monday off. And also, it is only a 4-hour drive from Indy. So you're going to get your Indianapolis fans out there, I believe, if anything. I have seen a lot of promotion going on, a lot of, specials with tickets. I think I've seen a 4-pack where you get 4, 2 adults, 2 kids, 4 hot dogs, 4 drinks. I mean, pretty good deal there. And I think it was pretty reasonable for 4 tickets to an IndyCar race. And let's talk about that. That's one thing that IndyCar does so well. The ticket prices are not horrible at all. The ticket prices are really, really, competitive with other sports. I feel like some sports, push up their prices and kind of price people out. But IndyCar, for a whole, as a whole, does a really good job with pricing.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really looked at pricing except for the 500, and I know that's a different beast in itself. But I will take your word for it. I mean, and they got to do something to get the fans into the tracks. Empty seats don't do anything for you. They look bad on television, and even if you get people in there at a cheaper ticket cost, they're going to spend money on merchandise. They're going to spend money on concessions. Parking's not free, so areas around the track, and if the track has paid parking there, you're going to earn money there. So I think it's a trade-off. The cheaper ticket, brings the fans in and gets more of their money because you're there, and you got. I don't think many tracks are like Indy where you could just bring your own cooler in. So I think that's a good thing for them, and that's one of the things they have going for them. Outside of maybe the Thermal Club, we've talked about that. It's a weird race out there, and you have to pay. You can't just buy single day tickets. You have to buy a whole weekend pack. But other than that, I mean, I'd have to look, but I'm going to take your word that the prices are great. It's a great strategy.
Yeah, I'm looking on their website right now, and you can get a general admission ticket for $80, which is kind of steep. Honestly, it's a little steeper than I honestly thought it would be. And this is part of not being able, when you buy several days out, it increases the price. If you'd have bought tickets 2 months ago, it'd have been a little cheaper. I believe the cheapest grandstand seat is looking at this is $99. So if you want a seat in the stands, it's a little high, but I mean, what do you do if you wait till the last minute? You're going to pay anywhere. I mean, you go to an NFL game, ticket prices get higher. I mean, it's just like any other sport. So at the same time, I believe $80 for an event isn't horrible. I mean, we see people spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to go to, NFL games, baseball games, stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a sport that if you're passionate about, you'll go watch.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, this isn't a fair comparison, but I was looking online. I got online a couple days ago looking at when the Pacers and Thunder tickets went on sale for Game 3 tomorrow, and nosebleed up in the nosebleed was $636 face value. That's not resale. That's face value. And you talk about sports pushing their markets up. 25 years ago, when the Pacers went to the finals, that same ticket was $15. You know, and for IndyCar to keep their prices so affordable, in my opinion, is a good thing.
Yeah, very, very much so. Like I said, I don't think $80 is that much for a ticket. I mean, if you want the general admission tickets, that's fine too. Their general admission ticket, if I remember correctly, their general admission ticket it gets you actually into the infield, which is pretty surprising. At least the first year I went to this race, the first year they had it back there at Gateway. I can't remember what year that was now. But yeah, I went the first year that they come back to Gateway or World Wide Technology Raceway, and that ticket got me. I had a $25 general admission ticket, and it got me into the infield and a few other places I shouldn't have been that we're not going to talk about on the podcast because I don't want IndyCar to be mad about that. But it was it was a great showing because you can see this racetrack from pretty much anywhere. I mean, it's small enough and good competitive racing at the same time. So for $80, I would definitely snatch a ticket if I could.
Oh, definitely. I love tracks like this. I love tracks where if you sit in the grandstands, if you sit along the front stretch, you can see the entire track. You can see the back stretch. You can see them going everywhere. One of the knocks I have on IMS is it's so large that when you're sitting, you can see part of the track. I mean, you can see them going into this turn, coming out of that turn, but you can't see the whole track. But tracks like Kentucky, Michigan, this track, you can see everything, and that is that's one thing that I love about smaller tracks that don't have so much stuff in the middle that you can see everything. That to me, that's a big plus. And also having this race at night, the lights going on those liberties is just one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen. NASCAR is kind of okay, but it doesn't compare to seeing the lights hit these shiny liberties and showing what the cars look like.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. The liveries look really good under the lights because of the shine they normally have, which is different. Because most of the time, I say this to most people, most of the time TV doesn't do the liveries justice. When you look at them in person, you see so much more detail and things like that. But and hopefully the teams do a good job with that, helping to boost that and look at different colors and things like that, because the colors are what really pop under the lights. So hopefully as we get into the week and the we get the spotter guide to come out, we can see what's happening there.
Definitely. Back to the racing. Who are you looking at that you think is going to be up there? I mean, I know Alex Palou got his first oval track win this year. He didn't. He was uncharacteristically didn't finish the race in Detroit, so he may be on a roll. Joseph Newgarden's had a rather tumultuous year so far, but he can never be counted out in these oval races. He has been the king of the oval race for the last couple of years, and I mean he was the winner last year. So who are you looking at this week?
Well, you bring it up. You bring up the past winners, and we have a slide for that to kind of help look at who's won this race in the past. And you nailed it. Joseph Newgarden, and these are the active winners: Joseph Newgarden, Scott Dixon, Will Power. Joseph Newgarden has pretty much dominated when it comes to this racetrack. Yeah, I don't know much more to say about that. The big question I have for you, and then I'll tell you who I'm looking at for this weekend. Big question I have for you: is this the racetrack where Chevy gets their first win of the season?
Possibly. But I think it's highly unlikely. I think Honda is kicking Chevy's butt this year. The fact that Chevy didn't win in Detroit is that had to been egg on their face. But I think the Hondas are just too fast this year for Chevy. I think Chevy's going to have to go back to the drawing board next year and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I actually think that this is the race that Chevy gets their first win, and it's from someone that I don't know if I've picked him this year, but with our new race picks, I don't know if I've picked him this year. If I have, I may give you a free tip on who to pick, but I'm actually looking at David Malukas. He is phenomenal on ovals. He done really well. I think this is where, before Detroit and the Indy 500 getting the second place finish. Or, I'm sorry, he didn't finish second at Detroit at the Indy 500. That was his best finish ever. Before that, his best finish ever was at World Wide Technology Raceway, driving for Dale Coyne Racing of all teams. So if he can wheel a Dale Coyne Racing car to a third place finish, what can he do with an AJ Foyt racing car?
Definitely. I mean, Malukas has looked really good. After the season he had last year and all the mishaps and not being able to drive very much. So I mean, that's a good possibility. I am looking. Who was it? I am looking at Santino Ferrucci. He's been having a pretty good year so far, consistent, I think, in my opinion, maybe not on other people's opinions. Him or Pato O'Ward. Pato O'Ward, he hasn't had the year that he wanted. I know he's had some ups and downs, but I think I'm either going to go with O'Ward or Ferrucci this weekend, depending upon, of course, qualifying, because as we know, if you don't qualify up there within the first 5 rows, it's really hard to win a race in IndyCar.
Yes, it is, but I believe this is the track where you can make moves and make passes. So I feel like if you have a bad qualifying, I don't think it's the end all be all of your race this weekend.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that somebody from the back of the field can't come up and win this, because it's an oval race. It's not a road or street. It's just really hard for cars to be able to move up, in my opinion. But you never know. We may have a Talladega big wreck and take out a bunch of cars, and somebody that started in 20th could skirt it and be able to win. So that's the allure of an oval race, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think fuel strategy will be big in this race. I think that could be a potential for extreme flips in strategy and positioning. Also, whenever the cautions come, does someone try and go a couple laps longer, save a little more fuel, and then the caution come out? It's got half the field trapped a lap down. Those are always things they're very, very interesting when it comes to an oval, because some of your road and street courses, you pit, you're not a lap down. You're able to, when the leader pits, you move on up. But ovals, especially short ovals, you're a lap down real quick, and if something happens, your day could be ruined real quick.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, pit strategy and fuel strategy is going to be key on this. And as we all know, if this does turn into a fuel race, there's one particular driver that we all know that tends to be able to make his fuel last a lot longer than other drivers, and he knows that secret. And and your pit crew, if you stall out, if your the tire gun breaks or something, I mean that's your race right there, because a few extra seconds in that pit stall, and you're talking about 1.5 to almost 2 laps down by the time. That's how fast these cars are going. So we'll see. Can't wait for this weekend to finally get here.
Yeah, you talk about that driver, and he is a previous winner here at World Wide Technology, and that's Scott Dixon. So, and Honda, it seems like they get a little bit more, fuel mileage overall. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens this weekend. Now, before we go any further, there is some people we need to thank to help. They help pay for this fun times we have here. So let's thank them. Always Ready 1776 for all your patriotic apparel. Go to alwaysready1776.com. Use our promo code push to pass, and you'll get 10% off your order. They have apparel, headwear, and more, t-shirts, all sorts of stuff. So head over to Always Ready 1776 and use that promo code push to pass, and you'll receive 10% off. And then Gettum Associates, they design and remodel. For all your design and remodel needs, head over to Gettum.com, use our promo code push to pass, and get $250 off all your design services at Gettum.com. All right, bills are paid. So, about I don't know, about 12:45 this morning, some news dropped, and I'm quite certain I may have been the only one in this group that was awake when this news dropped, and it's kind of concerning for race fans. More importantly, people that love motorsports in general, the people that have grown up over the past at least 5 to 7 years in the United States that have gotten into the Formula One side of things. We've had for those years, as I've been, Drive to Survive come out a little bit during COVID, and we were stuck at home, so we were able to binge watch Drive to Survive, and I got into Formula One big time. And I always knew of May as the Indy 500 and the Coke 600. Well, then I got introduced to Formula One, and we had Monaco. So we had 3 races, hours and hours of fun for a race fan. If you're married, your significant other probably doesn't love Memorial Day weekend. But now we have a bombshell, because we knew this was coming. If you follow anything of Formula One, you knew this was coming. And Formula One last year decided, hey, we want to make this economically friendly as far as travel for our teams. So we're going to move Monaco, and we're going to put a race closer to Miami after Miami, and that was the Canadian Grand Prix. Well, that just happens to fall on Memorial Day weekend next year, and it has lit up the IndyCar X or Twitter feeds for sure today. And Josh, I really want to know, because you haven't said much about it, I want to know your thoughts on that, and then I'll give you a little bit more of my thoughts.
First of all, for F1 to say they want to make anything more economical for their teams, though, that's funny. This is the series that boast that they have $100 hats and $300 hoodies for sale to the fans. They want to get more eyes on themselves. I guess you could say to make it easier for the teams, but to make it more economical, yeah, that's laughable. But it's weird. I mean, I've seen all over, just like you, all over X and Twitter, people that are complaining about this because, there's people that would wake up early to watch Monaco, then they would maybe take a nap or something, and get up for IndyCar and then watch the Coca-Cola 600 ending the day. I mean, I know you're one of those crazy fanatics that do that. But it's a weird thing for F1 to do. And I mean, you said the race is going to be at 2:00 on the Sunday. So it'll be, I mean, if the race starts here in Indy on time, you're right about close to halfway or over halfway. They're going to be starting in Canada. So what does that do for viewership? Yeah, it's just a weird thing for them to do. I don't know if they did this on purpose, thinking they want to take momentum away from the Indy 500, which good luck on that, because that's the biggest race in motorsports outside of maybe the Daytona 500. But I would say the 500's even bigger than Daytona. So it'll be interesting to see, if you've ever seen the movie Dodgeball, Jason Bateman's got a great line. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out. It may backfire on them. They may not get the viewership here in the United States that they think they're going to. What do you think?
Yeah, so as you said, fans of F1 have pretty steep price points as far as hats and hoodies and things like that. I'm a proud owner of one of those $100 hats, and I am a proud owner of the $150 hoodie. So I am one of those people. I'm also the proud owner of the $125 Puma Red Bull Racing and Ferrari Pumas. So for me, yes, I take motorsports serious. I honestly just love motorsports, if I'm being honest. From this past weekend, NASCAR race, I'm watching that. Formula One, I'm watching that. IndyCar, I'm watching that. If it's got wheels, I'm pretty much, probably at least gonna check it out. I've been to a few dirt races. Not my favorite. I don't want to offend any of the dirt people, but not my favorite form of racing. But it's interesting, and I love to learn about it because I don't know enough about it to even, get in trouble with it. So it's one of those things that I do love to learn and invest, because it's what happened with Formula One. I didn't really know anything about Formula One. Netflix said, here's this documentary about, motorsports and racing and Formula One. I'm like, cool. So I checked that out, and then it just grew from there. And now it's, video games and t-shirts and hoodies and hats that I've purchased just because it's something fun. And it's something to learn. But as far as this Canadian Grand Prix, I mean, it's a good race, but it's not the Indy 500. It's a good race, but it's not the Coca-Cola 600. You're going to have a race that is kind of going to bleed. If you're a pre-race, post-race fan like I am, it's going to bleed in. It's going to bleed into both races as far as, you're right, about halfway through the Indy 500, the actual race is going to start. And you're going to race for about 2 hours or so. And then your post-race is going to cut into NASCAR. So if you're a diehard IndyCar fan, you're going to watch the Indy 500 and you're going to say, I'll catch a replay later. if you're a diehard NASCAR fan, you're going to say, well, the race is over. Maybe, maybe not. It might be a parade like it normally is half the time. And then you'd flip over to NASCAR. You know, it's very hard because when I looked at the schedule, you have Miami, and then 3 weeks later, we're going to Canada. It's not like it's, you know, a week later or even 2 weeks later. It's 3 weeks later, and then we're at Canada. So I think this is a shot at IndyCar. But at the same time, if you're Formula One, why do you care about IndyCar? Why? Why do you care that your schedule is going against their schedule? And these races, if I'm being honest, aren't horribly far apart. They're not. I mean, they're not. Montreal to Indy, I haven't looked at the actual drive time, but we're not talking like, you know, 8, 10, 12. I mean, we're maybe talking 10 to 12 hours. We're not talking Miami where it's a drive and a half. Josh is going to look that up for me, it looks like. But it's not like it's, you know, a 14, 16, 20-hour drive from Indy to Miami. I mean, these are races that are close. So if you might get some bleed over from fans that, hey, I've been to the Indy 500. I love the Indy 500, but this is the one year where if I have to pick a race and I have the time off, I might go to Canada because it's the one time a year. This time is for Formula One. I'm not saying it's going to be a lot of people, but it could be 100 maybe.
Yeah, definitely. As I looked it up, it is 13 hours and 15 minutes from my house here on the south side of Indianapolis to Montreal.
Okay,
Canada.
So it is a little further than I thought.
But yeah, not too. I mean, that's going the speed limit, and let's all face it. We go over the speed limit, whether it be miles per hour or kilometers per hour. You know,
there you go.
Those wacky Canadians up north still go with the metric system. But yeah, I mean, it definitely could, and I don't know why. Why F1 is choosing to do this. I mean, and like you said, it's 3 weeks apart. So outside of moving the cars, I mean, the cars can stay on this continent, on the North American continent, but the drivers aren't going to stay here. The pit crews aren't going to stay here. Everyone's going to go back over across the pond to wherever country they come from, Spain, Germany, Japan, anything like that. They're going to go, and then they're going to have to come back. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like I said, other than the cars not all the equipment and the equipment not having to go back overseas. This just doesn't make sense to me. Is it? And to be honest, IndyCar is not on the level of F1. You know, F1, the IndyCar should take after what F1 has done, of how much they've blown up. You know, F1 just came out with a brand new video game and that. So I don't know. It's a bold strategy. We'll see how it works. I doubt they're going to do it again because trying to get the Indy 500 is just trying to go up against the Indy 500 is hard.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we kind of teased it earlier, but there could be some development this weekend that we haven't really had in a while in an IndyCar race. And let's bring in someone that can tell us a little bit more about it. Let's bring in the weatherman here, and he can give us more input on what this weekend's race is going to look like as far as the weather.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me on tonight. Again, like you kind of hit it right there. This is we've actually had pretty decent, weather for each race so far leading up to this week, in terms of mild temps, haven't really had too much rain concerns. The Indy 500 was probably the most difficult forecast we've had so far this season. But it does look like there's a pretty good potential to see some rain impact this weekend. And unfortunately, right, it's being an oval, so it's it's a little more of an impact than perhaps if we were looking at a road or street course. Now, I do like that, though it's not ideal, we do get some wiggle room, right, because it's a lit track, right? So we do have the evening to move into. We don't necessarily have a hard stop in the evening, so long as the track and the series wants to potentially move some stuff to the right, if that's what it comes to. So right now, I think Saturday of the 2 days looks to be the more active day, or the most likely day that we could see some impacts to track activity. We should have some rain in the area, but I don't really know. I couldn't say, which actual events might be impacted, right? Because I don't think it's an all-day rain. So it kind of depends how it falls, if you will, right? So, but I would say anything, from that early practice session through qualifying and the evening practice have a potential to be disrupted by rain. So again, it looks like that tapers off though in the evening. So potentially, if the series, we're willing to be flexible in that regards, they could maybe move some events there and kind of make up some time that way. Sunday, for now, I think we're actually okay. So we get a little bit of change to conditions, and the chances are a lot lower for rain on Sunday. And it seems, if it does occur, it's more likely to be more in the midday, early afternoon time frame. So as we get into the race window in the early evening and into past sunset, I think we're fine. So overall, I don't see an issue with the race probably going on schedule, on time, with dry conditions. But we may see some movement maybe to some of those earlier events, particularly on Saturday. Overall temps a little bit on the warmer side, probably looking upper 80s, and muggy too, with all that moisture in the air. So that's going to feel probably a little bit different than some of the earlier races we had this season as well. So it's only Tuesday, right? Still, I think I mentioned this in my X post that, just to keep an eye on updates through the week, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of refine that rain forecast and maybe focus those timelines in a little bit better as we get closer to the weekend.
Well, that is great information. Do you see the potential for any of these storms on Saturday to be, serious enough for, the campers or anything out there?
Oh, that's a really good question. And so no, I don't. I think there is a chance that maybe there's a thunderstorm or two embedded in there. So lightning is always a hazard for folks, so campers and stuff like that really, should always have some sort of hardened shelter option available. But I don't see any severe weather threat right now. I think it's mostly going to be of the rain shower variety type impact. So, certainly having the ponchos handy, and then, being aware of the potential for lightning within the area. And if something changes in regards to maybe storm severity, I'll have that in future updates. But as of right now, I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Okay, and then for fans that don't follow you yet, where can they find you on the web?
So I am posting this forecast in 3 places. On X, obviously, and my handle there is at IndyCar_WXman, shortened for Weatherman. I'm sure if you just type in IndyCar Weatherman, my feed should pop right up. But you can also find me over on Blue Sky, where I'm gaining some additional followers over there. And I've also been posting this over on Threads, which isn't as active, but I do have some folks over there that, occasionally will shoot me a message. So 3 spots.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for your time this evening, and we will catch up with you next time.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. Have a good night.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
All right, Josh, anything else you want to hit on as far as the Indy 500 and Formula One race is concerned before we move on from that?
I mean, the funniest comment I saw earlier today was, is Kyle Larson going to do the triple? And I said, I was like, that's just the funniest thing I've seen all day. But It's interesting. I mean, like I said, we'll see how it goes. They may end up doing it again. They may not. I, you know, people are going to go to the race. It may not be as big as you know what? It may be as big. It may be bigger than they think it is. But I mean, I don't really have any words. It's baffling to me why they did it. It kind of it shows some desperation that I don't think they need to have. I think they are around the world. They are a bigger name than IndyCar. So I don't know why they did this, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not sure why they chose to do this. Are they trying to steal some of the spotlight from the Indy 500 on the same continent? I don't know, but what I can tell you, and it's something you were touching on beforehand before we were joined by our weatherman. IndyCar could look at some of the ideas that Formula One does, because Formula One is not just a race. Formula One is like the Indy 500 every race. They have concerts going on. It's like the Snake Pit times, 24 events. So it's always something going on. And I know Iowa does a really good job with bringing out concerts and attracting maybe people that wouldn't show up to an IndyCar race if there wasn't a concert. And sometimes that's all it takes. It takes that one little, hey, I'm going to go to a Jason Aldean concert at the Iowa racetrack, and then I'm going to watch an IndyCar race, and maybe it's going to be fun. And maybe it's something I get into. Those are things. I talked to so many people at the Indy 500 that said, I started coming to this race in the Snake Pit, and it's I've gotten older, I kind of can't compete with some of those people, and now I just come for the race. So those are ways to get fans involved that may not be fans yet.
Definitely. For the Dallas race, I know F1 is bringing in Garth Brooks. That's a huge draw for some people, and maybe not for you, but for me it would be. So IndyCar, I don't know if they just want to try to be different, and they're like, we don't want to do that, but a reality series would be pretty cool in my opinion. They did for Drive to Survive.
They do have the 100 days to Indy, which is interesting. But now they've stuck it on a streaming app that is on. It's like Fox Nation or something, and I don't have Fox Nation.
Yeah, 100 days to Indy is pretty cool for a little bit, but I'd like to see what these guys are like throughout the entire year. Correct. I've never seen Drive to Survive, so. It was the concept. Did they go race to race to race?
No, so they did attend most of the races, and basically they kind of break each episode down to like a team, kind of, not fully. So some episodes are like fully based around one or two teams, and then other episodes are based around multiple teams, and it's just. Honestly, it gets a lot of the teams involved. There are some teams that are like, no, we don't want to be a part of that, or things like that. But it gets it honestly what it does, and this is what really hooked me. It shows the drivers' personalities away from the racetrack, and that is so crucial right now because you have young people. And this is exactly how I was even back when I started to get involved in NASCAR and learn about NASCAR when I was 5-6 years old. Is who are the drivers? I want to know the personality, because I want to know if that's someone I want to like emulate, or someone that I want to follow in their footsteps or their beliefs, or why they do this or why they do that. One of the best drivers right now, we don't know a terrible enough about, and that's Alex Palou. Let's be honest. Alex Palou is probably the best driver in the IndyCar series currently. And all I really know about Alex Palou, outside of, getting to know him at the race, but if I was just a traditional fan, is he likes fried chicken, but he's kind of cut back on it. So, and some of these drivers we just don't know enough about. David Malukas does a phenomenal job on social media to put himself out there and to show his personality. Another one that I've actually picked up on is Christian Rasmussen on X and Twitter is absolutely a 100% you have to follow, because this is what we need. But instead of following a driver on Twitter or X or TikTok or Facebook, let's get something on Big Fox. Why can't we have something on a Saturday afternoon, or maybe make it, before the race, like a 30-minute episode before the race, to where we get to learn the personalities of these drivers. That's what fans are striving for.
Definitely. I mean, even if Fox doesn't want to do it, Netflix would probably pull it, because that's where Drive to Survive was at. Learning about these drivers, and like you said, do you want to follow them? Do you believe in them? The Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt, may not have been the most friendly person, but that drew a lot of people to him. I mean, you learn a lot of stuff just by watching him on the track and in interviews, and people drew to him and said, "Look, that's a manly man. That's the man I want to be. I want to be like a Dale Earnhardt." So, and I would imagine so. I mean, I saw some of these guys at the media days this year before the season started. Some of them, they joke around and they just have great personalities, but you don't get that personality, walking out of the after they've crashed, or right as they've got out of the race. Let's hear some stuff about them, about their personal lives. What do they do? Do they like to go fishing? Do they own a classic car collection? Are they video game guys? What are they? So I think that would be a great thing. But trying to get IndyCar to change anything is like pulling teeth.
Yes, and speaking of IndyCar and how they can change, I think the last thing we have here tonight is a letter from Doug Boles that he put out. And it's talking about attending this weekend's race. And I'm not going to read that word for word, because that would just be too much for me to read, and I would get half the words wrong anyway. So basically, this is, just a letter from Doug Boles talking about how, we should attend this weekend's race at World Wide Technology Raceway. It is under the lights. He brings that up, and it's the first oval since the Indy 500. And that's what's really good about Doug Boles, is he is trying to reach out to the fans. He's connecting with fans, which is one thing that I feel like the previous president didn't do enough of. I think Doug Boles is he's going to be, unfortunately, we're going to either lose Doug Boles as the president of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, or we're going to lose him as president of the IndyCar Series, because I don't feel that he can be utilized fully in both roles. I feel like he would be better off and better served if he was to fully focus on one or the other. And I honestly believe, as much as it pains me to say this, because I've seen the transformation of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway under his leadership, if he could dedicate the passion that he has strictly for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, if he could take that passion and put it to the full, his full potential to the IndyCar Series, I think this series it could be full incline, straight ahead, sky high.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, if you look at the track, I mean, I've just in the couple of years that I've been going, I've seen vast improvements. He had a series where he was going around and doing telling about like different aspects of the speedway. Like, did you know that there's hotel rooms in the speedway still that you could stay in? I'm not sure how they're look when he went in there, they're kind of dated, but there's hotel rooms there. He took you into different aspects of the speedway. So, and he did a hell of a job on renovating the Hall of Fame. I mean, I haven't been there yet, but from the pictures and the video that I've seen, it looks stunning, and they've incorporated so many things from the past and the future that it's a great thing. So I think if he were to leave the speedway and become full president of the of IndyCar, which I mean he is full time, but he could take all of his efforts and his attention put there. I think that he could actually he could be the thing that turns the series around if he's allowed to. I mean, just because you're the president doesn't mean you get to make all the decisions. There's another boss that's over him that definitely makes the decisions, and other owners, that make up the thing. I will play devil's advocate a little bit on this letter. It is fantastic that he's putting this out. My question would be, what are the ticket sales looking like for this race? Did he put this out to promote the race? And where did he put this? Did he put this out on X? Did he put it out on Twitter? Is it something that just went out to like IndyCar subscribers? So that's my question. What did he put this out on? You could answer that. And what are the ticket sales looking like? Is because I've never seen anyone else come out and do this for a race, say, hey, here's the link. Come buy tickets. What is your thoughts on maybe that possibility?
I honestly feel like, and I believe this was put out on social media. I believe it was on X, Facebook, those platforms. My big thing is where was the letter for Detroit? And if ticket sales are hurting as bad as maybe this letter is pushing them to be, why are the ticket sales bad? And I think we hit on it earlier. It's a Sunday night. I don't know why this race was moved. That would be the bigger question to ask. Was this Fox coming knocking and saying, hey, we want to move this race because we don't have anything for that time slot? I will be excited to see, or not excited. I'll be interested to see what Fox has going on midday. Is it just reruns of, Married with Children or whatever they put on? I'm showing my age there. But, is that something that, is it just reruns of old previous TV shows, or is there like a sporting event they've got scheduled? So it'll be interesting to see why. And it would also be interesting to know why it was moved from its original time slot, which I believe was 3:30.
Yeah. The late start on a Sunday. If it was a late start on a Saturday, I could understand, but late start on a Sunday is it's kind of strange. I mean, the good thing is it's not running against the NBA Finals. They don't have a game that night, so maybe that's why they did it. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the attendance looks like and what the viewership looks like.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like you said with this letter, like, why was it put out? And I think ticket sales are probably hurting. And I think, like we said, Sunday night, no scheduled day off on. And how many people planned originally when the schedule come out? They're like, I'm going to Iowa. Well, I might go to Iowa too, but I'm going to St. Louis. I want to go. Maybe they've never been to that track. And they're like, I want to go. It's an oval, 4-hour drive. It's not horrible, but if you've got a race starts at 8, say it doesn't get over till 10:30, traffic is okay there. It's pretty close to the interstate, so traffic can flow in and out. But if you're not getting on the road until, say you wanted to drive straight home, you're not leaving until 12 o'clock. And so you're not getting home till 4:30, maybe even 5, depending on if you stop for some food or something. And maybe you planned on going to work that day. Well, now that whole plan is ruined. So that is another big takeaway of, well, maybe that's why the attendance might be hurting. We're just speculating at this point. We're not saying that ticket sales are down. We don't actually know any of that, but if ticket sales are down, this could be a contributing factor to it.
Yeah, definitely. But like you said, kudos to Doug. He sees a problem. If ticket sales are slipping, he sees a problem. He puts something out there. He maybe last second he gets some people to come. But we'll see what it happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm actually looking at tvguide.com for that event, and actually on Fox it just says local programming, so probably reruns. What I think they tried to do is get out of the time window of the Formula One race, which is on ABC and ESPN from 12:30 to 4. So I believe what they tried to do was get out of that Formula One window. They were trying to probably boost their ratings a little bit and probably have some, not so much competition with Formula One. So maybe, they could go back and change that. Maybe they would, since, Formula One kind of stabbed them in the back. But yeah, I mean, that's a potential of why they moved that race.
Possibly. They're never going to come out and tell you why, tell you exactly why, but I'll be watching. Can't wait.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'll be watching, but yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything I had and Derik had that he had lined up for us. Josh, any last thoughts before we end tonight's episode?
It was a great episode. I can't wait to review it next week.
Yeah, and with that, for Josh, for Derik, for everyone that makes up the Push to Pass podcast, we will see you in 1 week's time to review what we've seen this Sunday at Gateway.